Alright, if you've been grinding in Eternal Rebellion and staring at your hero roster thinking, am I even building the right team? You're not alone. With over 30 heroes in the game, each packed with unique skills and passives, things can get overwhelming pretty fast, and it doesn't stop there. As you progress, you unlock and upgrade additional abilities that can completely change how a hero performs. Some characters that feel average early on suddenly become monsters later, while others fall off depending on the mode you're playing. And that's exactly why today's video is important. Not every hero performs the same across PvP arenas, boss raids, trials, or story missions. A character dominating in PvP might struggle hard against raid bosses and vice versa. So if you actually want to progress efficiently and not waste resources, choosing the right lineup is everything. In this video, we're breaking down a complete Eternal Rebellion tier list, ranking every single hero so you know exactly who's worth investing in and who you might want to bench. Let's get into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking characters in Eternal Rebellion. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Wind Ranger, Lycan Warrior, Hellfire Mage, Vampire Duke, Soul Reaper, Desert Prince, Holy Mage, Grand Magnus, and Iron Fist. If you've ever invested all your precious resources into a hero and later realized you basically adopted a very expensive benchwarmer, welcome to the C tier of Eternal Rebellion. Let's start with Grand Magus. On paper, reducing enemy armor and boosting damage sounds amazing, and early on, it actually feels solid. The problem? He is extremely squishy and falls apart the moment enemies start hitting harder. In the late game, when battles become brutal and unforgiving, he simply cannot keep up. And honestly, there are just better damage amplifiers out there who survive longer and offer more value. Now, Holy Mage is one of those heroes that makes you think, okay, at least we have healing. She focuses on healing allies in the front row, which definitely helps with survivability during the early and mid stages, but that is kind of where the excitement ends. She brings no meaningful utility beyond healing. No crowd control, no buffs, no clutch mechanics, and since there are stronger healers available who provide additional support, she often feels like a temporary solution rather than a long-term investment. Moving on to Desert Prince. In one-on-one encounters, he actually performs decently. His damage output can surprise you in duels or focused situations. However, Eternal Rebellion is rarely about clean 1 versus 1 fights in the late game. Team synergy becomes everything, and unfortunately, Desert Prince does not blend well into advanced lineups. When compositions get more complex, he starts to feel out of place. And yes, once again, there are simply stronger units competing for that slot. Then we have Soul Reaper, who sounds way cooler than his actual performance suggests. Granting a shield to 2 of the lowest health allies is useful for survivability, especially in chaotic fights, but beyond that shield, he lacks broader utility. He does not significantly amplify damage, control the battlefield, or shift momentum. As scaling becomes crucial in the late game, Soul Reaper struggles to stay relevant. Ah yes, Vampire Duke, the evasion specialist. He is actually quite fun if you enjoy watching enemies miss their attacks and questioning their life choices. Providing strong evasion buffs can be powerful in certain niche setups. The issue is that evasion alone does not win battles consistently. He does not offer reliable crowd control, burst damage, or meaningful support beyond that one trick. So while he can shine in specific situations, he remains highly situational overall. Next up, Hellfire Mage. If you need single target damage, he can definitely deliver during the mid game. His focused damage output can help eliminate key threats, but as the game progresses, stronger single target damage dealers start to outclass him. He struggles outside the mid-game and does not bring enough versatility to justify keeping him in late-game compositions. Iron Fist is all about aggression. He targets the enemy unit with the highest attack damage and hits hard. That sounds incredible in theory, especially when you want to shut down a dangerous carry. But the problem is consistency and scaling. In late-game progression, where enemy compositions become more layered and defensive tools increase, Iron Fist just does not scale well enough. And once again, there are better heroes who can perform that execution role more effectively. Now let's talk about Lycan Warrior. Summoning lightning to deal area of effect damage is undeniably cool, visually satisfying too. However, he requires significant upgrades to scale properly. Without heavy investment, his damage feels underwhelming, and even with upgrades, he tends to struggle outside the mid-game. In high-level content, raw area damage alone is rarely enough to carry a team. Finally, Wind Ranger. She increases healing for the weakest ally, which sounds supportive and caring, like the responsible friend in the group. The problem is that she does not provide proper team-wide healing. Her support is narrow and lacks broader impact. Without additional utility such as buffs, control, or strong scaling, she ends up feeling limited compared to more versatile support heroes. So overall, these C-tier heroes in Eternal Rebellion are not completely useless. They can work in early or mid-game scenarios, and some of them even shine in very specific setups. But when we talk about long-term progression, late-game scaling, and competitive compositions, they simply get overshadowed. Sometimes they are stepping stones, sometimes they are nostalgia picks, but most of the time, they are politely waiting on your bench. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Mermaid Princess, Death Goddess, Thunder Lord, Barbarian King, War Queen, Dragon Knight, Night Priestess, and Spring Goddess. Some heroes are not bad, they are just living in that awkward middle zone where you say, you are good, but you are not staying forever. Welcome to the B tier of Eternal Rebellion. Let's begin with Mermaid Princess. She brings shield and rage buffs that are genuinely useful, especially in player versus player battles and even in late game content. On top of that, whenever she gets targeted, a random ally receives a rage buff, which passively boosts overall team power. That mechanic alone makes her feel dynamic and reactive. The problem is not that she is weak, it is that other utility-oriented heroes simply do more. More control, more versatility, more long-term impact. She is solid, just not irreplaceable. Now, Death Goddess definitely knows how to make an entrance. She targets 3 enemies with the highest attack damage and hits them hard. That alone makes her excellent for punishing enemy carries. And if that was not enough, she can apply stun, allowing her to maximize her damage output while locking enemies down. Sounds terrifying, right? It would be perfect if she could survive longer. Unfortunately, her squishy nature makes her struggle in late game content where durability becomes essential. Then we have Thunderlord, the sustained damage dealer. Thanks to his lifesteal capabilities, he can last longer in battles than many other damage dealers. He also deals heavy damage to random targets across the field, making him a reliable damage per second option during progression. The issue appears the moment you unlock stronger damage dealers. Once better damage per second heroes join your roster, Thunderlord slowly fades into the background. Barbarian King is pure chaos energy. He deals heavy damage to 4 random enemies, which can swing fights if luck is on your side. On top of that, he applies the burned effect, dealing damage over time and adding extra pressure to the enemy team. He feels powerful in mid-game fights. However, as your roster improves, you start noticing that there are simply more efficient and more consistent heroes available. Let's talk about War Queen. She focuses on enemies in the front row and deals increased damage to them, which is great for breaking tanks and disrupting formations. She can also apply stun, giving her an additional edge in controlling the battlefield while boosting her own damage potential. The downside, she is a bit too squishy for late game content. Once enemies start hitting harder, she struggles to stay alive long enough to fully shine. Dragon Knight thrives in one-on-one encounters. Her raw damage output is impressive, and she even gains a critical hit buff at the start of battle, allowing her to spike early. In duels or focused scenarios, she feels fantastic. But as fights become more complex in the late game, raw damage alone is not enough. Without additional scaling or broader utility, she starts to fall behind. Now, Night Priestess is clearly designed with player versus player in mind. She can buff her own armor for several rounds, making her surprisingly durable in competitive matches. On top of that, she significantly reduces an enemy's attack damage, which can cripple dangerous threats. However, outside of that focused role, she provides almost no additional utility, and in a game where flexibility is king, that limitation becomes noticeable. Finally, Spring Goddess. She heals every ally based on her own health points, which makes her scaling interesting. She also provides healing over time, ensuring steady survivability throughout extended battles. The concept is strong. The execution, expensive. She requires a lot of upgrades to properly scale into late game content. Without heavy investment, she feels underwhelming. With investment, she is good. But the question is always the same. Is she good enough compared to the alternatives? The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Holy Angel, Flame Saint, Legendary Mage, Frost Phoenix, Night Queen, Blood King, Ares, and the Reaper. Now, we are finally talking about the heroes that make you feel powerful the moment you put them into your lineup. The kind of heroes that do not just fill a slot, they define the entire strategy. Welcome to the A tier of Eternal Rebellion. Let's start with the Reaper. This hero is all about control through pressure. By reducing overall enemy armor, the Reaper increases the damage enemies take across the board, which benefits the entire team. On top of that, reducing enemy attack damage adds a layer of disruption that makes opponents feel weaker and disoriented. And as a nice bonus, the Reaper deals extra damage to stealth enemies, making him a direct counter to sneaky compositions. He is not just damage, he is strategic damage. Then we have Ares, and she is absolutely terrifying in the right hands. She specializes in locking onto a single target and eliminating it efficiently. Her combos are smooth, and once she secures a kill, she becomes even stronger, creating that dangerous snowball effect. What really pushes her into A tier territory is her immunity to stun. In player versus player battles especially, that makes her a nightmare to deal with because you cannot easily shut her down. Blood King is the definition of execution power. He focuses on enemies with the lowest health points and deals heavy damage, often finishing them off with brutal efficiency. He also applies heal block, preventing enemies from recovering and making them extremely vulnerable to follow-up damage. With proper upgrades and gear, he scales incredibly well into the late game. He rewards investment, and when built correctly, he becomes one of the most reliable finishers in the game. Now, let's talk about Night Queen. She brings valuable buffs that work beautifully in both player versus player and late game content. Her synergy with most heroes is one of her biggest strengths, as she fits into many team compositions without feeling forced. On top of that, she stacks damage over time, meaning the longer the battle goes, the more dangerous she becomes. She is not flashy at first glance, but she quietly takes over fights. Frost Phoenix is pure controlled destruction. She targets 4 enemies with the highest attack damage and hits them hard, which is perfect for dismantling enemy damage dealers. But she does not stop there. Her basic attacks can deplete enemy rage, slowing down their ability to use ultimate skills. Add in her critical hit and damage reduction buffs, and you have a hero that excels in competitive environments while also offering team-wide benefits. Then we have Legendary Mage, who feels like a walking stat amplifier. She provides attack damage and armor buffs to allies based on her own stats, which means the stronger she becomes, the more your entire team benefits. Her basic attacks can apply heal block, adding offensive pressure, and when she activates her ultimate skill, she can even provide decent healing. She brings offense, defense, and support all in one package. Flame Saint is the embodiment of controlled aggression. She deals heavy damage to all enemies while simultaneously reducing the incoming damage she takes. Her basic attacks grant her a shield, adding another layer of survivability. And the lower her health points drop, the tankier she becomes through her passive ability. She is one of those heroes who looks like she is about to fall, and then suddenly refuses to die. Finally, Holy Angel. If you're looking for a reliable late-game healer, she delivers. She provides strong healing to sustain the team and even grants a damage boost to allies on the field, increasing overall output. But what truly makes her stand out is her ability to survive fatal damage up to 2 times in a single battle. That mechanic alone can completely turn the tide of a fight. In long, intense matches, Holy Angel is the kind of hero you are very grateful to have on your side. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Celestial Maiden, Gabriel, Immortal Shield, Samael, Lucifer, and Gilded Satan. And now, we are talking about the monsters. The heroes that do not just fit into the meta, they define it. The ones you build your entire account around. This is the S tier of Eternal Rebellion, the absolute best of the best. Let's begin with Gilded Satan, the definition of a late game carry. He deals massive area of effect damage to all enemies while also applying damage over time for 3 full rounds. That alone would already be strong, but what truly pushes him into god tier territory is how well he scales. In late game content, he does not fall off. He dominates. His passives further enhance his overall battle performance, making him a consistent threat from start to finish. Honestly, if you have him built properly, most lineups instantly become better. Then we have Lucifer, the backline executioner. Her raw damage allows her to completely eliminate a single target with terrifying efficiency. She specifically targets the enemy's back row, which means utility heroes and fragile supports are never safe. And just when stealth-based compositions think they are clever, she can directly target stealth units as well. In player versus player, that alone makes her a nightmare to face. If there is a priority target on the enemy team, Lucifer handles it. Samael is all about control and scaling pressure. He can deplete enemy rage and reduce their speed for multiple rounds, effectively slowing down their momentum and delaying ultimate skills. But here is where it gets interesting. He actually becomes stronger when targeted, so the more enemies try to focus him, the more dangerous he becomes. Add in his strong synergy with most elemental lineups, and you have a hero that fits almost anywhere while still disrupting everything. Now, let's talk about Immortal Shield, the backbone of many late-game teams. He grants shields to allies with the highest attack damage, protecting your carries exactly when they need it most. On top of that, he provides a speed boost to allies in the same row, helping your team act faster and control the pace of battle. As a frontline hero, he is incredibly reliable in both late-game content and player versus player. He does not just absorb damage, he enables your entire team. Gabriel is widely considered the best healer in the entire game, and it is not even close. She can heal all allies for a massive amount, instantly stabilizing fights that look completely lost. Beyond healing, she also serves as a powerful support option in player versus player battles. Her buff has significantly improved survivability, ensuring your team can endure extended encounters. When Gabriel is on the field, your margin for error becomes much larger. Finally, Celestial Maiden, the ultimate all-rounder support. She grants attack and armor buffs that remain incredibly valuable in both late-game content and competitive play. She can even evade enemy attacks for 2 full rounds, adding unexpected survivability to her kit. And perhaps most importantly, she synergizes well with almost any hero during late-game progression. She does not demand a specific composition. She enhances whatever you build around her. That flexibility is exactly what makes her S-tier material. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.